Hello again, this is Peg Burns with Our Golden Thread Curriculum Materials. Would be the first presentation after the story. In this presentation, because the children don't know how to use the materials, I would model carrying them from the shelf, unrolling, doing the reading, every aspect of it. After this portion, the children would be as independent as possible. So let's begin. I unroll the timeline. Depending on the age of the child, I orient differently. If the very young children are involved, I don't speak much about it because it is only over time and experience that they will really understand the centuries. A child who is reading, maybe second, third grade, has a different perspective on the passage of time and familiarity with numbers, so I might say 100 years. We mark this as the beginning edge, as if that's where Jesus was born. And every section is 100 years until we get to where we are currently in time, past 2000. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000, 1000, 100, 1100, 1200, 13, 14, 15, 16, hundreds, all the way to the 2000. And again, brief orientation is really all that's necessary. So in this work, we're going to come to know some nonviolent followers of Jesus through time, people who have lived Jesus' way. And we will start by putting an image of Jesus up. This is one artist's idea of Jesus, and we put him at the very beginning. This is one artist's idea of Mary, and we put Mary with Jesus in the beginning. There are 3 more people in this box, and I would assume that children would not know these people. So what we'll do is we'll pick up one person, one card, and walk to where the chart is hanging up. Again, this part is so that the child has independence. And the assumption right now is the child is reading enough that they can know at least a little bit of sounding out or know their letters to match the name with the picture. Again, there's a variety of capabilities with children, and that is not, their ability or inability should not be what holds up progress with coming to know people, because it's the adults in conversation with the child that makes the difference in all of these works. Hopefully, the more independent the child is, the more they can own what they're taking in. So I will model as if I'm showing the child how to go to the chart to find out who this person is. or origin. The label cards have the name, a handle, one little bit about the person, the date, and their location. So, origin. He was born around 185. Origin. Depending on the age of the children and their ability to stay focused, we might read the rest of the card. Greek Church Father. That means he was connected to the church. Being a father means he was a pillar or a leader of the group, and Greek tells us on the eastern side of the world, or the Roman Empire. So we begin to locate him. He was born in Egypt. We'll put Jesus Christ label up. Prince of Peace. His dates, he died around 30, and he was in Israel. And Mary, Nonviolent Mother of God, 1st century Israel. The child would then move to the next person. For the purposes of filming, I will just move Dorothy Day with her card. Dorothy Day, Catholic worker co-founder. Her dates are 1897 to 1980 in New York. So we'll get her on the timeline. The child again would go to the chart for the purpose of filming. I will put Leo Tolstoy, nonviolent author, 1828 to 1910, Russia. I will put him directly onto the timeline. With some children, this might be enough. So we would find a way to repeat the names as we're putting them away. We might notice the color of the clothing, something to help the child remember for the next time. For filming, we're going to move on. The next set of cards are short biography cards. So I'll just read those and we'll place them near the person. And today I'm just taking them from the box as they come. Origen was once asked why he did not help the empire to be safe by fighting like most other people did. Origen said he did help the people of that land. He helped with the strongest help there is. Origen helped by praying to God. God is the strongest power there ever was or will be. Now we're going to ask the children to try and pay attention because there's other card materials and there's other work to be done. And so we're gaining information. We're starting knowing nothing, and we're piece by piece building familiarity with these people. So we pay attention to do that. New York City's poor had a good friend in Dorothy Day. She fed and clothed and comforted those in need for 50 years in the houses of hospitality she set up. Perhaps I would stop and talk about the word hospitality, saying something like, When we go to church, sometimes there's someone who is one of the hospitality ministers. They meet us at the door. They make sure we know where the bathrooms are if we're visiting that parish. They might say there's coffee and donuts after. They're helping us have our needs met. Dorothy Day helped the needs of the poor have their needs met in homes that she called houses of hospitality. So stop when necessary and clarify, judging the needs of the child to keep moving or to go deeper. So I will continue. Dorothy knew that war was against the nonviolent way of Jesus. She worked, hoped, and prayed that the money used to build bombs would instead help the poor have holy, happy lives. That's what Jesus wanted, all his brothers and sisters living in peace together. The next card. When Mary said yes to God, she said yes to being the nonviolent mother of God forever. Through every event of family life, Mary cared for Jesus with nonviolent love. When Jesus cried as a baby, when he fell down while learning to walk, when he was hungry, and when Mary couldn't find him on the way home from Jerusalem, Mary always acted with nonviolent, merciful love. Mary remained nonviolent even when she saw her son being tortured and killed. We know this to be true because Mary united herself with God fully, and God is love, Abba, Father, loving parent, mercy. Jesus Christ is the Son of God. The name Jesus means Yahweh saves. Jesus came to the world to show us how to work with God to help heal and save the world. Jesus' way of getting along with others is God's saving action in the world. This means Jesus is the model of how Christians must act right now to bring healing, love, life, and joy to the world. Jesus' way, which saves, is nonviolent love of friend and enemy. And our final short biography. What is the meaning of my life? What will become of me and my work? These are the questions Leo Tolstoy asked himself. These are the questions that led Leo to the Bible for answers. Leo found some answers too. He found that Jesus gave us the way to happiness forever, for everyone, rather. Jesus' way of nonviolent love is the way to bring love and life and joy to everyone. Leo Tolstoy was a great Russian writer who put his serious questions and answers into his stories. Through his writing, he helped many people grow close to Jesus, the nonviolent Son of God. And so I move this to Leo Tolstoy. So we have one more part in these boxes. I will take out objects. Prayers, it says. This is a picture of a mother holding a baby. This is an empty tomb. This is a soup pot. And this is a pen. So the objects help tell the story. They help us to remember. So these object cards will go a little bit deeper. Every day, the long line of hungry men and women waited for a meal at the Catholic Worker House. For nearly 50 years, Dorothy Day cooked soup for those hungry people. Every day, she gave the kind of care to the poor that Jesus directed his followers to give them, mercy. So what object do you think is for Dorothy Day? The soup pot, yes. And we'll carry these items and place them with Dorothy Day. Leo Tolstoy's stories and writings led his readers to find in their own hearts deep feelings of love and care for all human beings. Through his writings, Leo shared his faith in Jesus' way of nonviolent love. The pen. A scholar is an expert in a particular subject. Origen was an expert on the Bible. Origen knew Jesus was nonviolent. He knew the weapon of the Christian is prayer and loving their enemies so much that the enemy's heart becomes filled with the love of Christ. Origen. And we have this idea of a book of prayers that we'll put with Origen. Mary is Jesus' mommy. She showed her love for Jesus by holding him, listening to him, and playing with him. She was always gentle and kind. Mary is our mother, too. She loves us and is as close to us as she was to Jesus. And the final card. Jesus is the Son of God. The empty tomb tells us Jesus rose from the dead. It also tells us Jesus' way of love of friend and enemy is the truth. It is the way that leads us to resurrection. So that is a good example of how to use the materials for the very first presentation. So again, we have to do a little bit of orienting to the timeline, but it's not meant to take long because it's only over time that children understand passage of time and centuries and that kind of thing. We don't want anything holding up progress coming to know people who lived Jesus' way, but we want a way to have the children engaged. So this is orientation to the timeline, to the card materials, and the objects that go with the card materials. I will also take a moment then to say that there's booklets about each of these nonviolent followers. It's a little bit more of a biography than what the cards can hold. I'm not a writer, but I had to get something available for children, so I put together these biographies, and they are a beginning then for the children to know a little bit more. These are available in the website. My phone number and email is there. You can contact me if you want these. These are not on the website. Just about everything is on the website except these. And they can be free if you'd like. If I can recoup the printing, that's fine too. That's not what's important. The important is getting these into the hands of the adults who can then guide the children knowing these wonderful people and eventually getting them into the hands of children. In my space, when I'm working with groups of children, I keep all of the booklets together so that the children have the opportunity to move from their work on the floor around the room to pick up to find the booklet that they would like me or someone to read or that they can read to themselves. So we encourage movement, independence, ownership, choice, and of course responsibility in how we treat materials and how we treat each other whose other work, because other floor works are going on simultaneously. So the process has a lot of nonviolence connected to it, along with the actual content. There we go. That's the first clip, the first presentation.